right.
The stream is live.
Woo! Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Elena. We are a new streaming network, home of Going Solo, Going Bold, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio. Welcome to Your Health Vibes with Elena. Dun dun dun. I'm your host. What do you know of Your Health Vibes with Elena? My journey is to raise your heart, body, and soul vibes to the next level so you can transform your life today. And today, our topic is bold and brilliant energy. Unlock your power with the one, the only Tracie. Come on down.
Hey, girl, I'm here. Yay.
Woo. Thank you so much for being here. I always love to start off with introducing you to the world because I know you and I want them to get to know you. If you can kind of tell us a little background or a little bio of you and
Yeah,
just
well, we've got a couple hours, right? We're good for time for that.
we totally do.
When you're
talk forever.
when you're a woman of a certain age, you have a long story to tell, but I will keep it brief. I am Tracie. I live in Santa Cruz, California, and have had the pleasure of knowing you, Elena, for a couple of years now through an organization that we are both part of that might be pink related. We we here in Santa Cruz, we are bearing down for a storm, and it's gray and gloomy outside, but it's the perfect time to get on with someone like you, Elena, because you bring the sunshine, and I'm happy to be here. Let's see my story. I am a speaker, a coach. I have a podcast called the Bold and Brilliant Podcast. I have a community that we've built since COVID called the Gather Community. We can talk about that journey if you like later, but basically we support women entrepreneurs and women leaders in business to connect to each other, to leverage those relationships for friendship, for collaboration, for business growth, personal development. And we host events, workshops, summits. We offer our members visibility and speaking opportunities. So I am all about allowing the space for women to be seen and to share their stories, their mission, whether it's business or personal, to the world. We've got members across the planet now, which is very exciting. And now with the podcast, that's the goal, is to reach even more people, which, as you know, that's the excitement of podcasting. I've been coaching for almost 13 years, which is pretty crazy. I'm gonna soon, in a couple of years, get to the point where I'm coaching longer than I was in corporate. Corporate was 17 years from college to departure. And basically, I found coaching because I had been in corporate. I was, working my way up that corporate ladder, tap on the glass ceiling, all of those things. And, because we weren't breaking the glass ceiling back then. And I had some pretty crazy stuff going on in my life. My first husband, shortly after our first kid was born, was diagnosed with cancer. So for 4 years, I went through supporting him in his illness and recovery and recurrence, and ultimately his passing. And during all of that, I was working full time. We had 2 babies, learning how to be a mom, learning how to be, someone who is on this cancer journey, not only, for his own journey, but it's also the caregiver's journey to go from diagnosis all the way through. So after that, and after kind of, that year and a half afterwards, of kind of the fog started to lift, that grief fog, which I know that you're familiar with. You support a lot of people who've had illnesses. The realization came to me that if I didn't make some changes in my own life, I wouldn't be able to be the mom that my kids needed because they only had one parent. I also wanted to be able to be more available to them, to be able to go to things at school and, be in the classroom and read to the kids and go on field trips and things like that. So as I started to take care of myself, actually the way I found coaching was I engaged with a health coach to help me with all of the, 4 years of survival and baby weight, plus a lifetime of bad habits. Um, I had been a smoker. I lived on Diet Coke, just it was never a thought. I was
Right.
just living life,
Living.
and it had, really piled on me. So I found a coach who then taught me how to become a coach. It was kind of a network marketing structured thing, which was exactly what I needed at the time. And I realized that if I leaned into that and created that as kind of my primary thing, that I could leave corporate, I could move to live near my parents who were in Florida. Again, I'm California, so basically as far as possible in the States.
Yeah, definitely.
And start anew, which after all of that struggle, starting anew was very alluring.
Yeah.
So I started coaching in April of that year. And by December, I had quit my corporate job and moved from California to Florida.
Wow.
I saw the vision and I was just like, I'm going to do this. I have always had a lot of, kind of personal self-confidence and optimism. Some people might say Pollyanna, but really it's just
definitely don't get that from you.
Well, and it's, I guess that's a social media thing because it's more like what you see in writing, right?
Yeah.
But it's that ability to just know everything's going to be okay. And, I don't know how, but it is. And so we picked up and we moved to Florida. Now, long story short, I am here in California. That's because right as I was leaving, my now husband, who's in the other room, and I kind of looked at each other and went, you're leaving. This is a problem. And so for about 6 months, we did the long distance thing, got engaged, and the kids and I moved back to California, and we've been here ever since. That's been about almost 12 years.
Wow.
So it's a long roundabout journey to say that, after college and corporate and doing what I believed was what you're supposed to do, I realized that there's only one life to live and you got to make your own decisions. And so picked up and started making, taking the new ideas that I had in my head into my practice and just kept going. So I've been coaching now for 13 years. I went from health coaching to life coaching to business coaching, because when you're a life coach and you're building a business, now you can talk about how you built your business.
Yes.
I created an in-person event space. It was called Gather. That happened just before COVID hit. And when the lockdown happened, we said, well, we can't do that for now. So let's go online. And that's how the Gather community got started. And we're still here to this day. So continuing to try to support people just by giving them the space to become whatever they're going to become.
Maybe you could just kind of elaborate a little bit on that, giving them the space. I think so many times it's come for certain things. We know what we want to say. We want to show up for them, but we end up kind of invading that space and not allowing them to necessarily show up in their own space because we want our space. So maybe you can elaborate a little.
Well, what's funny is years ago, that term holding space for whatever. Yeah. It's not just from Wicked, it's been a thing for a long time. And I was like, what the heck does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. So I started doing some research because that's what I do. I'm like, hello, Google, what does holding space mean? And I realized that that's what I do. I didn't really know. My kind of superpowers includes helping people see kind of themselves and allowing them to take the time and take the breath and the minutes and the hours and whatever, depending on the situation, minutes, hours, days, if it's a retreat, to kind of stop and realize what is it they even want? What is it they're thinking of themselves, about themselves, and what do they want for themselves. And that's why I'm doing retreats. That's why I love doing the Gather community, because it's all about creating these spaces for people to shine, to discover themselves, to connect with each other, so that through those collaborations and connections, they, can help others see themselves too.
Right. I love that. Yeah. From the moment I met you, I've always felt like seeing her. I just felt like I'd known you my whole life, the way that you showed up, the way that you interacted, and you let me be me. It wasn't, sometimes when you meet people, they want to give their advice and show up a different way. But what I love about you is you're so big on the community. And I love, maybe we can talk more about the Gather community, but being bold, being brilliant, and unlocking that power. Like, how do you help someone unlock that power to show up? Because I love your confidence. I love how you show up.
Oh, thank you.
I love what you do. And so someone who's kind of in that, or trying to find themselves, or, the right coach, because, so there's different levels. There's like house coach, there's this. How in your community do you help them show up and really unlock that power?
One of the things that happens for this, we do 6 summits a year in the Gather community. And one of the things that happens regularly is our speakers are our members, right? So they're my clients. And so they ask me, what's the theme of this summit? And I'm like, I want you to talk about what you do.
Yeah.
And give them an offer afterwards to work with you more. Like, that's the goal, is to give them visibility to potentially find new clients within the audience and within each other, honestly.
Right.
So the way that we give them the ability to unlock that power is by giving them the space to do it, right? Giving them that moment. So the idea of like, what's the theme? Well, we have a title.
Yeah.
Like, we have this one coming up this is live, so I could say, like, coming up in a couple of weeks is the end of February, is called the Bold New Year Summit.
Maybe
And
you want to talk a little bit for a second about that, so people know?
Yeah, I will. Yeah. The idea of this, I was going to say that it's the end of February, but it's still the first one we're doing this year. So we're still calling it the Bold New Year, even though it's already 2 months past New Year's Day. But, when you're thinking about like, what even is a theme? Well, the title is Bold New Year. So what can you talk about related to the fact that we're starting fresh, or being, getting ready to make new goals, or new, a new path, or whatever. So, but I don't want them to be like, okay, well, our theme is, so narrow that they can't, so it's a way that they can interweave whatever we're, whatever the title is, into whatever they do. So our speakers, again, who are our members, who we promote, they work in wellness, they work in business coaching, they work in life coaching, finance, like all of the different categories that are relevant to women leaders and women in business across the planet. So, my goal for our summits is to kind of mix up the topics, mix up the vibes, make sure that, our speakers kind of play off each other in a way, so that someone coming in who doesn't know any of us will just feel like they're here to connect with people, to understand maybe a new perspective, or maybe find the advice or suggestions, or just the ideas that they've been looking for, that will help unlock their next step. Right. And so we do that 6 times a year. We have one here in February, April, May, August, October, December this year. And the goal, of course, is to keep people moving forward along that path, so that there's, and this is the same thing I talk about when I'm talking about my retreats.
Yeah.
You've got to, we've got the day-to-day, we've got all the things we're working on. And every now and then we need some time to kind of reset. Not reset and change things, but just to kind of stop the madness for a minute
100%.
and take a breath.
Yeah.
And realize that, okay, what is like, I know what I'm doing, but why am I doing this again? What am I trying to accomplish? And when you can kind of stop and have that thought, oh yeah, okay, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Okay, I can start again with a little bit more centeredness, and a little bit more groundedness, and a little bit more joy, and also purpose.
Yes. I love that you say that, because I think so many times we want like such a fast result and like instant gratification and go, and we're not breathing. And I think society, it's like, what's your 5-year plan? And what are you doing next? And we're not living in the present. And that's what I like about you, is that you say, okay, let's take a breath, let's stop and show up and show up for yourself and give yourself that space. Because I feel a lot, as I said, we're hustle and bustle, we're all over the place. And to really take a step back and, look at yourself being bold and brilliant and powerful,
Well, I think you need all of that. You have to stay in motion. You have to stay, what I say, in bold action, be taking action. But you also need to not get so caught up in the checklist that you forgot why you started, right? And, I teach goal setting. I teach the structure underneath it. This is really, when I'm talking about helping people kind of with their businesses, that's what a lot of people are actually missing, is the structured part. So I don't want to say that, just holding space and taking a breath is what you need, but it's the combination. And that's why, you got to do it. You have to have it all together, because if you have that structure, you can get caught up in, like I said, like in doing the checklist. But if you don't remember the point of the checklist, like what is the end game, then the desire to finish is diminished.
Ooh, wait, say that one more time.
If you don't remember why you started, the desire to finish is diminished. You have to, and I never said that before, so that was kind of fun.
No, that was real fun and powerful. I was like, hey, I need to write it down. That's like,
it's, this is not rocket science. If you don't know why you started, if you don't know why you're doing things,
then why are you doing it?
Then you don't want to do them.
Right. So how do you help someone kind of come, like if someone comes to you a little bit, or like, I'm lost, or doing so you're not checking off the checklist and doing, what are some maybe pieces of advice that you could kind of give someone to where to even start? Because I think sometimes we're like, I don't even know where to start. What do I do?
Well, I think a lot of times that shows up like lack of consistency, kind of being maybe a little scattered and not getting results that you're looking for with the actions that you're taking. So like, for instance, things like social media and communication are a big part of that, right? Here in this world, we've got email marketing, we've got social media, we've got doing video, we've got speaking, all of these different things. And it's all fun and games, but if it doesn't have a trajectory, then, it feels so disconnected that it doesn't like feel good anymore.
Right.
You don't know, it doesn't go together. It's not cohesive. So really what it takes is a strategy, right? Understanding what it is you want, and then what are you going to do to get it? Right. Not vice versa.
Yeah.
Not what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then let's see what happens, right? So you have to come up, you have to know what you want it to do, right? Like big picture, what's the big dream? What's the big thing? Do you want to be able to, for people like myself before, do you want to be able to leave your corporate job and have a more flexible schedule so that you can hang with your kids more or whatever? Do you want to, maybe you just want to be able to travel, or maybe you actually need to get away from a toxic environment. So when you know what it is, the goal, the big picture goal, like you were saying, people say, 5 years, whatever. Yeah, it's important to think about 5 years. I find 5 years challenging because I've got teenagers.
Yeah, exactly.
And so for me, 5 years is like they're adults and gone, and I don't even know what that looks like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Most people can handle maybe a year or 2 years. Yes. So let's, bring it back to something that's, and it's great to have those imagining moments and really, and some people have an exact vision of what they want in 5 years. But at least something that's like, a year from now, I can imagine what that could look like. And then reduce it, and then reduce it, and get to the point where you've got some time frame that you can actually, like, it's the middle of February right now.
Yeah.
Like June is going to be here before you know it.
Right.
What do you want things to look like in June? Right? What about the end of this year? And really having a strong picture and emotional attachment to what it is you're trying to create.
Ooh.
right? Oh, I can imagine, speaking on a stage of this many people, or I can imagine for me with a membership, I can imagine having this many members in my membership. For some people, it's, I want to have this much money in my bank account.
Yeah.
And it, I want to have my car paid off, or whatever goal it is for the individual person. It's, as many people as there's that many different options.
Definitely.
And so, but once you figure out what it is, and that's really exciting, then you can be like, okay, well, what am I going to do to get there?
Yes.
And, working with a coach or a community, like a group program kind of thing is really great for that, because you leverage other people's ideas. This happened in my 12-week program not long ago. We were all talking about the different things we were going to do. And as everyone explained the things they were going to do, people were like, oh, I need to do that too. And they wrote it down. Like they found the missing pieces by hearing from others.
And just showing up, I think, and like just saying what they need. And, big on community, maybe you want to talk about your 12-week program or something, and also with community, I think that's big. I love one-on-one, but I love that you say when you're in a group, then people can show up, they have a piece of the puzzle that you might need. So maybe we can elaborate a little bit on pieces of the puzzle connecting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I actually prefer working in groups, and that's why the Gather community is so important to me. Because I do think that, not one person doesn't know every answer for every person out there. Right. So for me, thinking about, one-on-one coaching is great. And I have a mentor that helps me with my work as well. And she knows my business and she knows me. And we, really strategize and make a plan specific to what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But I also love being in a group and leading groups, because I get something from every single person in the group.
Definitely.
And you have, humans are designed to be connected to other humans. We are not a solo species. We are a tribal species. So it's imperative that we lean into groups. And it's funny, my oldest is a freshman in college, and the group program thing, it's in school, the group program thing is the worst possible opportunity, right? Because you're put with people who you don't get to choose. You don't know what their work ethic and their ideas are like. He's completely frustrated about it.
I can totally relate.
It's hilarious. But when you're an adult, you get to choose, unless you're, again, when you work for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Mostly get to choose who's in your group project, and the synergy that comes from those, like-minded, like-purposed people. You're not joining a group program because you want to slack. No. You're joining it because you're trying to get something out of it and return on your investment of time and money.
And collaborating.
And the collab, because it's often way more valuable than it's like, it's greater than the sum of its parts.
Yes. Yeah.
So the opportunity to build community and leverage your connections to grow yourself, to grow your ideas, and ultimately grow, your life or your business is, unmatched.
It really is. Yeah. I love community. I love groups. Like that's my jam and my lane as well. I really feel that you really get to connect that way and get to show up. And, sometimes people are afraid to ask to do, but once they see someone else, then it can push them more. So with your Gather community, what do you get? Like what happens in there? Do you guys do events? Can anybody join, or like, how can people connect on that? Cause I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, great. Well, we have a couple of different levels of paid membership. Our high level membership, which is called the creators, they, when I created the community, I was like, you guys are going to help me create this community. It doesn't exist now. Let's go. Right. And so they get kind of anything I can think of: promotion, speaking opportunities. We host them for workshops. We do panel master classes, things like that. So those members, it's a curated group. Not everyone wants to be at that level. Not everyone wants to be a speaker, all of that. But for women who are trying to grow their visibility, increase their reach, find new audiences, and just, really connect powerfully to other women who are doing the same, that creator membership is great. And so they are our speakers for our summits. They teach the workshops that we host. They are on the panel for the master classes that we create. And all of these things, we also do networking, we have co-working, we have game night. All of those things are hosted and created by the Gather community. And so our second level of membership is called our VIP community member. And those community members, paid community members, get automatically registered for everything that we host.
Wow.
All of those summits, all of those workshops, all of those everythings, which is 5 to 10 things a month.
Wow, that's a lot.
And so at no cost, it's all included, right? They also, we have a directory on our website. We've got the creators have landing pages, the VIPs have a directory. Some of the things that we do are for our membership only. So those VIPs and creators, or the community members and creators as kind of a whole VIP group.
Yeah.
Our co-working is specific for them. We have game night specific for them. Excuse me. And actually next month we're starting a monthly mastermind that's just for them as well. So that's a brand new benefit that we added to starting this year. The creator membership, as you can imagine, with all of those opportunities and promotion, like most of what we do, work-wise, is focused on giving them opportunities. And so that's a higher level, higher cost membership. But the community membership, the VIP community membership, is very low cost. It's only $247 for the entire year to have access to all of those things and to all of those people. You come to the networking, you come to the summits, we do breakout rooms. We have breakout rooms for the speakers, but we also have Connect breakout rooms. So there's networking happening. There's visibility happening. You ask a question, even if you just come to a summit with a free ticket, even if you're not a member.
Right.
Hey, I have a question, blah, blah, blah. Now you're being seen.
Yeah.
And, so it's very interactive, and there's a lot of opportunity to just grow your visibility and your confidence in business.
I love that. I love that you make it affordable. I love what it stands for, because I feel so many times these things, it's like when you buy into it, it's like overpriced, and then you're not getting seen. And it's just, about paying for like a number or space. Yeah. And I love how you allow that to show up and really, truly make it affordable, make it people want to be a part of it and not feel bad. Like, I want a community, but I can't pay for it, and then feel bad about it, Right.
Well, and what's funny, there's everything under the sun out there, right? And so you pay your membership fee or whatever, and you have like lots of opportunities, and some of them you only have a couple of things.
Right.
And I like to say, like, there's so much available to come to. Like, I can barely come to everything, and I get to decide when it all is. Like, I put it on my calendar first, like, okay, I'm available there, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
And so sometimes our members, our VIPs especially, will come in and go, I can't come to all these. You don't have to come to all these things.
Right.
Come to what works for you and leave the rest.
Yeah. I love that you have that option to come as much as you want. It's not just one or two things, and to show up that way. So we're going to wrap it up in a little bit, but just wanted to know a couple things. One, do you have any advice for like your little self, if you were to, where you talk to us or something? I love that kind of question. I know it's kind of generic of what it is, but I love to kind of hear a little story of, maybe for the younger generation out there, or, trying to show up for ourselves. There's so much going on with the media and this and that, and, truly being able to unlock your power without allowing things to
wow. Okay. So my brain went like 8 different directions.
I know, and mine did too. I was like,
well, because there's so many, like, depending on who the person is that's listening, they're going to have a different idea of what they're hoping to hear. Right.
Yeah.
And really it comes down to, realizing that you get to decide. Right. This is something that a mentor told me many, many years ago. Like, everything's a choice. You get to decide how you feel about something, how you respond to something. Like, you don't necessarily get to decide your initial, like, visceral reaction.
Yeah.
But that actually can be worked on even also.
Yeah.
And, if you are triggered or feel, really upset or whatever about the way things are happening in the world or whatever, like, You can feel however you want. You can act however you want. But is it serving you? Are you doing that because you are going to do something like take action? Do you want to feel sad? It's okay to feel sad. Go ahead,
Right.
feel sad.
Yeah, feel your
And
feelings.
how long do you want to feel that way? What do you want to do afterwards?
Yeah.
So deciding to like, this is really getting me, and I'm going to just let that sit for a second, and then I'll figure it out in a little bit.
Yeah.
So like letting yourself feel it, letting yourself get to the other side of it in your own time, that's all great. The other things I think is because everything really is choice, all those responses are choices, all those actions that we take are choices. We also can choose to not engage. And I used to be really like, I don't watch TV. I don't watch politics. I don't watch, like, I was away from it. I'm much more engaged now.
Yeah.
And I don't live my days upset, crying in a corner, even though sometimes it feels like maybe I could use a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I feel more like I want to give myself the opportunity to do something that will serve me
Ooh,
about it.
yes, that's
Right?
people is a
So if
big
you can take action that
yes.
affects the world, great. If you can take action that affects how you feel, great.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, like, make that decision that is for you, not what someone else says you should do, not what you think someone thinks you should do. Like,
Yes.
make your own decisions because you get to decide what your life looks like.
I love that you get to decide, because I think, as I said, we're so clouded, and you're hearing this and hearing that, and really showing up for ourselves. So, do you have any kind of last nuggets or any things that you want, maybe a favorite quote or whatnot that you like to share? And then also
Well,
you can share with how people can work with you, what they can do, and the best way to get a hold of
yeah. So sometimes the answer to that is you get to choose, right? But we already did that. So I
you.
have one other that I talk about a lot. And that is, so here to my right, you can tell there's windows here. Even though it's gray and
No,
gloomy
I
outside,
still
there's
see the
light.
light. It's still shining.
And above these windows, so years ago, I was kind of working through some of my own blocks and trying to figure out, why was I shortchanging the things that I really wanted? I would imagine this amazing, you know, thing that I could have in my life someday, this dream. And uh and then I would be like, well, maybe I'll just do this because that's more, it's the whole like realistic thing, which I don't
Yeah.
even like using that word.
Yeah.
But it's like that seems more doable.
Yeah.
But why would I chop it down? Why
Right.
why not just see the big one? And yeah, it might take longer and be harder, and I don't know enough to do it now, but why am I shortchanging myself even before I
Mhm.
start?
Yeah.
And I realized that it was because coming from a corporate background where people were always telling me what to do and I was being rewarded, but when it became the things that I was creating out of my own self,
Yeah.
I was like, is it good enough? Am I good enough? Am I worthy of this dream that I have in my head? And I want to tell everyone that you are absolutely worthy of the dreams you dream. And that comes back to the window. That's what I have written up here on my window, because one day I realized that's what I was doing. That was what I needed to tell myself. And I wrote it on my window frame. It's
Boom.
now inked in or painted in paint pen.
Yeah.
And it says, I'm worthy of the dreams I dream. The world needs me to show up today. And
Aw,
that gets me at my desk. It gets me talking at 9 o'clock in the morning when I normally am not talking that early in the morning.
thank you.
And it's my pleasure. And it reminds me, if I sit here and like look outside and let the sun shine on my face and read those words, then I can remember that there's a reason for me to be doing whatever it is that I'm doing today, and to be making those decisions, those choices that are serving me. Cece, thank you very much for your comment.
Yes, Cece, I love you. Thank you so much. Cece's amazing woman too, and she has her own podcast. So she's
Awesome.
yes. So everybody check her out too.
Well, and I do too.
Yeah,
So back to the connection thing. So
yeah, I would love for you to
yeah,
tell the world how they can get a hold of you and how they can work with you, and yeah,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, the easiest thing is I put it all in one place because there's a lot with the Gather community and the podcast and my coaching, and we do retreats, and I have group programs and free workshops. Actually, I've got one next week on the five tips to live, be bold in your life and business, or something like that. I always forget the title. Anyway,
I do too sometimes with these stuff.
Well, if you go to tracieroot.com/links, all the links are there. So all my socials are there, all of my programs, all of the Gather community stuff, the podcast, big banner at the top. Come and find us and subscribe and download, because I'm new. I have like 76 downloads, I think. So going for that next that 100.
Follow Tracie.
And but if you go to tracieroot.com/links, you'll get connected to all of those things. You'll be redirected, if you want, to the Gather community website, which has a whole calendar of everything that we're doing in there. All of the things can be found at the links page.
Beautiful. Well, we're going to kind of wrap up the show. I just want to say thank you for being here. I love you. I adore you.
It's my pleasure.
It makes my heart so happy. So please reach out to Tracie. You can join me bi-weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific time to begin raising your vibration, heart, body, mind, and soul. And I'm Elena with Your Health Vibes with Elena. And we are on new streaming network, home of Going Solo, Going Bold, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and love you. And I will see you every other week. Bye for now.
Bye.